In Country podcast, as you can find us on your Apple Podcast, Shopify, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can hear what the discussion of today for your people of tomorrow, the children of treaty. You will be here to learn how to protect your children under the Oklahoma Indian Child Welfare Act of 1982. For some of us here in Oklahoma are subject to the Oklahoma Indian Child Welfare Act to set us free from the boarding school era. That's right, 1982, they had formed here in the state of Oklahoma the Oklahoma Indian Child Welfare Act of 1982 to set the children free to go back to their ceremonial families. So when this stuff happens, you'll have to search for 25 USC subsection 1911 to transfer and jurisdiction. 25 USC subsection 1911, Indian tribe jurisdiction over Indian children custody proceedings. So the custody proceedings will be given in the jurisdiction of the tribal government. Now, you're going to have to know what this means, what this really means. Exclusive jurisdiction. Tribes existed before colonization. Tribes existed before any university or college. Tribes existed before any church. Tribes existed before any treaty. So when they talk about tribes that have exclusive jurisdiction, they mean tribes, tribal people, the names that Creator calls them by, the tribes. The people have exclusive jurisdiction, the tribal people, not the corporation that was formed by the tribal people. So when you do the exclusive jurisdiction, an Indian tribe under 25 USC subsection 1911, that means if you're from a ceremonial ground, that means if you're from a sweat lodge, or if you're from an Indian house or some place of sacred sites, sacred teachings, the unwritten law that's written on the tablet of the heart. So any indigenous tribe shall have jurisdiction exclusive as to any state over any child custody proceeding involving an Indian child who resides or domiciled within the reservation of such tribe, except where such jurisdiction is otherwise vested in the state. That means like some of these states are Public Law 280. Oklahoma is not a Public Law 280 state, but they always mingle in and separating our children from the cultural families today, yesterday, and hopefully not forever, because I'm here to share with you, the indigenous family, your rights of treaty as we're going through here, 25 United States Code, subsection 1911, where we're at right now. So once we have established the definition of this content on TikTok is over here, Federal Tribal Prosecutor for TikTok. If you want to leave any comments or questions, come over to the Federal Tribal Prosecutor for Indian Country on TikTok. So you can leave a comment, as we are currently Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch Live. So to help you, Mr. and Mrs. Indian Country, to safeguard your children, pull up the app 25 USC and follow along. As you'll see here, ooh, who's that? That's a big truck. Except where the jurisdiction is vested in the state, like California, Public Law 280, only the civil side, not the criminal. Where an Indian child is a ward of a tribal court, the Indian tribe shall retain exclusive jurisdiction. You see, the tribe, not the corporation. There's a difference of the corporation, and we're going to get right into that right here in a few seconds. So I'm going to go to TikTok and green screen over here, things that you're not able to see on the live. So again, you can come over to TikTok, Federal Tribal Prosecutor for Indian Country. Oh, who could that be? Let me go see. Koba, behave. Koba, let me go see. Hang on. Hold that. Not for us. Thank you. It's okay. Quit. The HDMI, no signal. Okay, so I have the green screen on for people on the TikTok app. So when we're looking at the 25 USC subsection 1911, the Indian tribe jurisdiction over Indian child custody proceedings, Section A, grants exclusive jurisdiction to tribes over children who live on tribal land. We also have 25 USC when it pertains to Indian child custody proceedings. This includes trust land and restricted land. There is a difference to know what is trust and restricted land. So the parents cannot defeat tribal jurisdiction if they wanted to adopt the child out. The parents cannot supersede that. And you can look this up through the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians versus Holyfield. So you can look that up in order to see what's going on with Indian country. So what that means is that the Indian people cannot adopt their people out or put in foster care or anything like that because the jurisdiction belongs to the tribal people of the ceremonial grounds who, if you're a Muskogee Creek or Shawnee, you have the arbor or the arbors, or if you're the Salagese and Cherokee, you have arbors. You have like 7 arbors if you're from Stokes. You are the tribal government. The people are, comparative to Americans' Christianity, where they say the church is the people and the building is the temple, right? Trust land cannot be encumbered, taken for debt, or adversely possessed or taxed without federal rule. So you got to know that too, because we're our own country within a country. So I'm trying to teach on TikTok at the same time. Let's see, 25 USC, subsection 19. Oh, look, they left me hanging over here. They froze me over here on Tickety Talk. Let's see if I can pull this back up for you. There you go. So 25 United States Code, subsection 1911B, concurrent jurisdiction and transfer. So remember when I share with you, when it comes to any proceeding, when it comes to children, that anyone can intervene at any time of the court proceeding to petition a court of competent jurisdiction. That's subsection 1914, if you want to look that up. So the transfer of proceeding declination by a tribal court. So upon the petition of either parent or Indian custodian of the Indian child's tribe, provided that such transfer shall be subject to declination by the tribal court of such tribe. However, petition to transfer proceed is made. What happens after a petition or transfer is made? And what are the criteria ruling for transfer petitions? When it all comes down to it, if your treaty rights are being violated in your own court, then you know that you're in a RICO takeover of your resources for future use for the children, land, air, and water. Try to get you guys caught up over here. So the Oklahoma Supreme Court provides clear guidelines on transfer in the matter of MS and KS 2010, Oklahoma 46, 2010. So the 25 USC subsection 1911C, Part C, state court proceedings intervention in any state court proceeding for the foster care placement of or termination of a parental rights to an Indian child, the Indian custodian of the child, and the Indian child's tribe shall have a right to intervene at any point in the proceeding. That's 25 USC subsection 1911, Part C, state court proceeding interventions. Remember, in Oklahoma, we're federal. They're the state. They're below us. We're not a public law 280. We are the supremacy clause and those of IIM accounts, shareholders who formed a corporation that is to protect our children. And if you follow me on the federal tribal prosecutor account, you'll see that they have not done so in a long time. So intervention is different from transfer. Many courts confuse the two. The right to intervene is at any time in the proceedings, pre or post adjudication, pre or post termination. So if you, like me, have been battling through these imposter tribal courts where you have judges and lawyers and attorneys that are not familiar with your culture who have an oath. They took an oath to uphold your Constitution. They took an oath to uphold your treaty. They took an oath to apply your law in your court, and they don't. So that's an imposter tribal court. I don't go to the imposter tribal courts. They don't have jurisdiction over me. I want to make that clear for the record. There is no court here on Mother Earth that has jurisdiction over this indigenous ceremonial dad here on Turtle Island. None. We come from the jurisdiction from above. We have a treaty with the Americans to walk our path and they walk theirs, not to infringe on the rights of the federal protected political entity the indigenous people of Turtle Island are. That's the children also. Children are the value, the treasure of the indigenous people. So we have to educate our children with the correct education. So let's go full. They have a full faith credit. So subsection 1911D, a full faith and credit to public acts, records, and judicial proceedings in Indian tribes. So the United States, every state, every territory or possession of the United States, and every Indian tribe shall give full faith and credit to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of any Indian tribe applicable to Indian child custody proceedings, to the same extent that such entities give full faith and credit to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of any other entity. So strongly supported in Oklahoma is 12 Oklahoma State Statute subsection 728, the legislature authorization for the Supreme Court to establish reciprocal full faith and credit agreements with tribes in Oklahoma. So if you're not familiar with the good faith neighbor policy that Congress allowed the state here in Oklahoma to work with the federal tribal treaty people, they had failed. They were always after our gaming funds. If you know about gaming, there are 3 types of classes here: class 3, class 2, and regular old bingo. So most tribes stay in class 2 gaming. That way the funds stay with the people to fund our social services, our education, to provide for the people, which it never does. And if you do get something, why do you always have to come up there like you're begging when all these people are supposed to be stewards of the funds that's received by the government on your behalf? Why should you be feeling like freaking, what's that movie called? Please, sir, may I have another? What was that? Oliver Twist. If you were in middle school, you had to read the book, Oliver Twist. Please, sir, may I have another? You know, why is that? Why do you have to go to your corporation to ask for assistance when they promise to provide. So if you know your code of laws and you read it, you will know that there are frauds amongst you. So if you're of my tribe, the Kaspokata Shawnees, and you'll see as the Attorney General duties, when you go to the juvenile procedures part of your tab of the Code of Laws for the Kaspokata Shawnees, this is what they're supposed to do. And I'll put it over here on the green screen for the TikTok people. All right, as you see here, the Tribal Attorney General duties. And I'll read it right from the book, word for word, from our Code of Laws, that this is how you know there's fraud within our corporations. Like I shared with you before, there's a template out there that was done upon the Cheyenne Arapaho tribe in 2010 that they finally got to the courts in 2017. And you'll have all these law firms that are part of the RICO ringleader takeover to cause a leadership dispute that also came to our tribe and caused a leadership dispute amongst our people too. The same ones that did the Cheyenne Arapaho came over here in Oklahoma, Shawnee Indian country. When you read your treaty, it talks about what to do when these people come into Indian country, that they are outside the protections of the United States of America. So the duties under section 111 here of the Tribal Attorney General duties, it says here, the Tribal Attorney General shall represent the tribe in the interest of the child in all proceedings subject to the title in which the tribe is a party. In proceedings subject to this title in which the tribe is not a party, the Tribal Attorney General, upon request of the court, shall intervene on behalf of the tribe in the interest of the child, and thereafter shall act as the guardian ad litem of the child. So how come at our corporation, when I just read it to you, right from the book of our Code of Laws, that the ceremonial people, the Big Jim and White Turkey, Kaspokata Shawnees, from the old ground and the new ground, have formed this corporation to protect us. The Attorney General has committed fraud and crimes against humanity against the children of treaty. That's us too, the older children who are now at the age of saying, hey, critical thinking will help me provide some truth to this matter. So again, it's only the truth. If you're going through this, we are a consulting firm. We are the federal tribal prosecutor for Indian country to report the crimes to a competent court of jurisdiction. So yes, we are for hire. We are a keynote speaker. We do a lot of other things just the same. But since graduating from the University of Oklahoma College of Law, there has not been employment for yours truly, even using the Form 4432, which is federal tribal preference to work at your corporation. When it comes to tribal preference, it's you, the ones who formed the corporation, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, the tribal people that have a treaty and IIM accounts have formed a corporation December 5th, 1938, to protect our treaty rights and agreements, to protect our heritage, culture, and religion. And if you're like me and you've gone through these imposter tribal courts and you see up there that there's a Caucasian judge, that should give you a hint right off the bat. Another thing to look at is what flag is in that court. If there's an American flag in that court, you automatically know that that is not your law. That should automatically tell you, oh, that's not my court. That's a foreign vessel on dry land. That should tell you immediately, that's an imposter tribal court. That's not my court. And so how do you save yourself from the jurisdiction of an imposter tribal court? Well, if you go to your Code of Laws, like me, you'll see that there's an enrollment tab. In the enrollment tab, you'll see that there's going to be voluntary relinquishment from the corporate role back to the treaty land that your family is, that your culture is, that your people have a treaty with the American government that cannot be infringed upon by anybody, not even these frauds that are selected to run this corrupt organization. One day, well, maybe it's today, because I'm sharing today what has happened to the indigenous family when your corporation does not protect you or the future use of your land, air, water, and your babies. So there again, the Oklahoma Indian Child Welfare Act, specifically here in Oklahoma, is definitely still alive as long as we keep it alive. And so far, we're currently in the Eastern Federal Court reporting these crimes. Thank you for your time. You're definitely not getting it back. So I hope to provide value for your family at home. So I'll be going to TikTok now. So if you want to follow me over there, Federal Tribal Prosecutor for Indian Country. Peace and fried bread grease, as Uncle Marvin would say. Hey, because he does. Uncle Marvin was on KJRH radio, and Uncle Marvin was on the radio, man. He was on the radio way back, even when I was out of the Desert Storm. I would call Uncle Marvin, and I get in the wrong ride sometimes. Hey, I get stranded sometimes, but there's always Uncle Marvin. He'll come and get you, boy. Uncle Marvin, because I hear him on the radio say, I'm gonna need a ride. I'm gonna need a ride back. Where you at? All right, I'll be at the 7-Eleven at a certain time. I'll pick you up. Okay, I'll be there. Start tracking. But Uncle Marvin, that's family. That's a ceremonial, cultural family that I grew up in that doesn't leave you hanging. Don't leave you hanging. Won't leave you in jail. Won't leave you hanging nowhere. Come and get you, because that's family. And then you have friends who become family that do the same thing. You can stay here. I'll come get you. That's the Indian way. And that's the letters NDN. Thank you for your time, because you're not getting it back. Peace and fried bread grease. You can find us at IndianPeoplesLaw.com. That is the letters NDN, peopleslaw.com. And you can check out the podcast. You can check out the Oklahoma Indian Child Welfare and ways that you can support these federal cases that we're trying to bring to the light. Again, Mado, Yahweh, and Aho.